Welcome. I'm Scouter Steve, and this is the 7th episode of my scouting collection. Scouting themed movies. Think about this. Of the tens of thousands of movies that were created over the last century, very few have had a scouting theme or plot to them. Can you even name 3 movies that fit that description? How about television shows? Can you name any BSA produced films? Training videos aren't allowed. In this video, I would like to share with you my VHS and DVD collection of scouting themed movies that I have collected over the years. They also include TV shows and some other films. I am sure that I don't have them all, so if you think of any that I don't have that I should add to my collection, leave a comment below so that I know what to go look for. And while you're at it, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future videos. Ready to begin? Let's get started. The first ones I have here are some VHS tapes, basically produced by the BSA, of the National Jamborees. And as you can see here, I have 1993, 1997, and 2001. Now basically, that's about as fancy as it gets. Because if I take these out of the box and show you what it looks like, all it is a sticker on the case. So, nothing too fancy as far as marketing goes. In fact, as you can see, the boxes for them are pretty blah. But, I do have 3 VHS tapes of the National Jamborees. But I just don't have tapes. No, because not long ago, the BSA on scoutstuff.org had a Jamboree 5 DVD gift box. What Jamborees are contained in this? Well, as you can see by the cover here, we have 1993 Jamboree, 1997, 2001, 2005, and 2010. So, covers quite a few of them. In fact, all of them on tape, I now have on DVD. And one nice thing, these are a little bit fancier. As you can see, the boxes are a little more promotional worthy. So, very nice as far as that part of the thing goes. Little description of everything on the back. And one nice thing with these is there are a few other little things that come with the DVDs, kind of the extras that you'd see on a movie DVD. So, and you can probably see too, I have not opened any of these yet. This is fairly new to my collection. So someday I'm going to have to open these and find out what's all on them. Especially the 2001 Jamboree, because that's the one I attended. But I also had scouts at the 1997 Jamboree, and I believe the 2005 Jamboree, I might have had one of our troop members attend. So that is the Jamboree, both DVD and VHS. Now, if you remember a few years ago, back in 2008, there was a TV show that was on one of the networks. It actually ran 2 seasons, 2008 and 2009, and that is Scouting for Adventure. Basically what it did is it pitted some people against each other, kind of a competition thing, and see how they were at scouting skills. It was kind of an interesting show. I know the first season, I think I saw all the episodes. The second season, I haven't seen them all. I've seen some of them, but not them all. The first season had 6 episodes. The second season had 13 episodes. And as far as I know, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think there was only 2 seasons of this. This was broadcast on the Outdoor Channel. So unless you had cable TV, you probably didn't know much about this one. So, TV shows produced by the BSA, well, with help from the BSA. In fact, on the back, it says Boys Life magazine, so they must have had a little something as far as getting involved with this particular TV episode. The next thing that I was able to get a hold of, and this was produced in, well, this was made in 2016, but it contains films from 2001 through 2008, and that is called Timeless Philmont. It's the original Philmont DVD, and it includes 36 backcountry camps. On the back, it says, David E. Carter was a Philmont Ranger in 1960. He became a 7-time Emmy Award winner. From 2001 through 2008, he came back to Philmont every summer to pay back the place that he had spent a transformative summer. First, he produced and printed a coffee table picture book, Timeless Philmont, which he donated to the ranch. And in 2005, he produced the first Philmont staff recruitment video. In those years of 2006 through 2008, he produced more than 40 short films on Philmont. And during his time there, he filmed all of them. He filmed all of the then 36 backcountry camps. So this DVD was sold for 2 years in the Philmont Trading Post and has not been available since 2008. But in 2016, we got it back. So nice addition. There was some interesting films, and it is nice to look back to the history of Philmont, see what Philmont was like back in the mid-2000s, that decade. The next Philmont DVD is probably one of my favorite Philmont DVDs of all time. I think this was produced somewhere around 2010, and if any of you have seen this, it's the Philmont Collection. I've got the DVD and I've got the Blu-ray. Of course, the Blu-ray has maybe just a little bit more on it than the DVD. But some of the features that were included in this includes a 93-minute film, features the history, impact, and beauty of Philmont Scout Ranch. The first 30 minutes tells the story of the Scout Ranch's origins and development from Wade Phillips, and then goes through today where he actually follows a crew as they go through their Philmont trek. This also includes some video on some special programs, Philmont Slideshow, the sights and sounds of Philmont, and Philmont in 2, which is a promotional film, only 2 minutes long, which really works well to showing your troop when you're getting ready to announce the Philmont trip. Lets the guys see, or gals nowadays, see what they'd be in for if they go to Philmont Scout Ranch. These were very well made. I have enjoyed watching this show. And back when I was doing podcasts back in the 2000s, the creator of this, Larry McLaughlin, was able to come on the podcast that I was doing, and I got to interview him for this. So kind of an extra bonus there. If you haven't got a hold of this one, I would advise you to get a hold of it, especially if you've ever been to Philmont Scout Ranch. So these are kind of the BSA produced ones. Okay, nice little collection here. I do also have DVDs and videotapes of training videos, but I didn't want to include them in this particular show. So we're just going to kind of do TV shows, movies, and other films. So let's kind of set these off to the side and now get into non-BSA produced TV shows and videos. The first one, we are going to go all the way back to 1938. And this is called Scouts to the Rescue. It's actually a 13-part serial that was shown in theaters back then. Basically, if I read the back here, it says Jackie Cooper plays an Eagle Scout whose troop finds buried treasure in a deserted village. A G-Man investigates, and the treasure turns out to be a stash of counterfeit money. Meanwhile, the Scouts are captured by a tribe of Indians and taken to an underground temple. There they find an even more valuable treasure, a deposit of priceless, coveted radium. You know what? Just reading those first 2 paragraphs off of here, I don't think this would be made in today's world. We're already talking about radium. If I remember correctly, that's a radioactive material. And being captured by a tribe of Indians, you could tell this was a period piece from the 1930s. Anyway, like I said, there was 12 chapters, not 13, 12 chapters. And unfortunately, it's on VHS tape. I don't have a VHS player anymore in the house, so I've never actually been able to watch this, but I still like to have it as part of my collection. I'm hoping maybe someday to find it online and watch it that way. I can probably do a search based on the 13 chapters that are listed here. But yeah, one of the main stars is Jackie Cooper, and we know he was a very big youth actor back then in 1938. We're going to go back 1 year to 1937 for The Young Eagles. Now this one I happened to get a hold of on DVD. Once again, it was a series of movies that were thrown into theaters for young people to watch. Again, 12 thrilling chapters. And here again, 2 adventurous Eagle Scouts are lucky prize winners in a contest to fly to South America with the famous aviator Angus MacLean. Attempting to outrun a severe storm, the plane runs out of fuel and crashes in an isolated Central America jungle. MacLean's leg is injured, and the boys must put their scouting skills to the ultimate test. Struggling to survive in the deadly wilderness, the boys encounter man-eating beasts, savage natives, and outlaw treasure hunters. Sounds a little bit like the themes overran each other here a bit, only this time we're in South America. Again, this one came on DVD, and at some point I'm going to watch it. Again, I don't think this would be made in this particular manner anymore today. Views have changed a bit, you know. We got to be a little more careful how we make movies. I have one other one from 1937, and this one involves Tex Ritter and Tex rides with the Boy Scouts. Do we have Indians in this one again? This one involves a mining operation and stolen gold. So, maybe a little bit different than the other ones here. Here again, nice little DVD case and everything in there. I have not watched this one either yet. I'm going to have to sit down and watch that sometime. Okay, we're going to move ahead now a bit, get out of the 30s, and hit the 1950s. There was a movie that came out in theaters back then called Mr. Scoutmaster. And this one I happened to download offline, and then, or no, I think I bought this one online. Somebody else downloaded it. It's a black and white movie from the 1950s, what do you expect? And it's about a Saturday morning kids show host who's kind of losing touch with his audience. He's getting older. He doesn't understand what teenagers want anymore, and he's losing his audience. So he decides to get involved with scouting to try to figure out what boys like. As you can pretty much guess, there's going to be some mishaps and missteps during the course of this thing. Actually, I like this movie. This one I have watched. I do enjoy it. Yeah, it's 1950s, but I found it rather enjoyable. Moving on to the 60s, we're going to hit the movie now that I'm sure most of you have heard of. 1966, Follow Me Boys. If there was ever a definitive scouting movie, this is probably it. If you've ever been to Philmont Scout Ranch for training, I'm not sure if they still do it, but when I went through training years ago, this was shown, I think, on Wednesday nights at the dining hall. And that's where I first saw it in 1984, was at the Philmont Scout Ranch, at the training center there. This is the definitive movie. It basically follows Lem Siddons, who's played by Fred McMurray. And Kurt Russell, this is one of his earliest movies that he was involved with. Basically, it follows Lem Siddons during 30 years of being Scoutmaster in this little town. And all the scouts, well, not all of them, but it kind of fits different things through those 30 years that become part of the movie. I remember seeing this in 1984, and I was Scoutmaster for 3 years at that time. And when the show came in and said that, oh my goodness, he's Scoutmaster for 30 years, I thought, holy cow, how could anybody ever be a Scoutmaster for 30 years? I was only 24 at the time. Little did I know I would not only meet that 30 years, I would surpass it. and I was Scoutmaster for 40 years before I retired from that position. Moving on. This one, which came out in 1988, yeah, a little bit of a gap there between these movies, is called The Wrong Guys. And basically it follows a Cub Scout den who have all grown up now. And the leader of the den decides he needs to get his den back together for a reunion, and they're going to go camping at this place that they just could not do as a Cub Scout. And of course, they get involved with criminals and so forth, and hilarity ensues because when this movie was made in 1988, it involved some of the best comics at that time, which included John Goodman, Louis Anderson, Richard Lewis, Richard Pelzer, and Franklin AJ. So it was okay. It was fun. It didn't win any Academy Awards or anything like that, but it was still a fun movie to watch. Okay, the next one, we're getting a little closer here. This one's from 2005, and you've probably heard of this one. Down and Derby. If you have not seen this one, I would advise you to track down a copy and watch it. Basically, it's about Pinewood Derbies in a Cub Scout pack. The twist is, it follows the dads and their competitive spirit more than it follows the Cub Scouts. So kind of plays on the assumption that the dads take the Pinewood Derbies a little more seriously than the Cub Scouts. One of my favorite lines from the movie is when two of the Cub Scouts are sitting on the curb of the street, and one turns the other one and says, "I can't wait to be a dad so that I can compete in a Pinewood Derby," or something like that. Kind of a cute little movie. I enjoyed this one. And if you have a Cub Scout pack, your pack might enjoy watching that. Now the next one here is from Pixar. It's not really a scouting movie per se, but it has a scout in it through the whole thing. And I figured if I did not put this one into this video, somebody is going to say something in the comments below. Maybe I should leave it out so people comment. But no, I'm going to say it. And that is Pixar's Up. If you haven't seen this, go out and watch it. It is a fun movie to watch. And like I said, one of the main characters is a Cub Scout. Well, a wilderness scout. So he's not actually a Boy Scout or Cub Scout as far as the BSA is concerned, but they're playing that out. So I'm not going to say a whole lot about it because I have a feeling most of you are aware of that one. The next video I have here is from 2009 called Scout Camp, the movie. This was an independently made film. I think it was in theaters for a short time, but I just knew it from getting the DVD. This is another one when I was doing my podcast back then that I actually did get to interview one of the actors, or no, I think it was the director of this movie, I think. This is a movie based on a troop going to summer camp, and unfortunately, it could be the last summer. Well, it's going to be the last summer camp for one of the older scouts. And of course, if you watch this, you are pretty much going to see just about every scout you have ever seen in a troop somehow represented in this movie. Also, there are two troops in this movie that don't necessarily get along with each other. They're a bit competitive, which kind of adds to the fun of the movie. So if you haven't watched it, see if you can find a copy of that one for yourself. And that again is the Scout Camp, the movie. This next one is another independent film. I'm not even sure if this one made it into theaters. It's called The Last Eagle Scout. And when I watched this with our troop, after I bought it, this one hit home a little bit hard. I want to read to you the back of this one so that you can see what it's about. In the not-so-distant future, society has allowed political correctness to go beyond the point of the absurd. For years, Boy Scouts have been under government microscope and finally have been mandated to close their doors for good. Boy Scout Cliff Elliott stirs the pot as he tries to cling to the last shreds of patriotism and earn his Eagle Scout award. In this dramedy, watch as Cliff jumps through the ridiculous hoops, avoids bumbling antics of government cronies, and tries to escape the murderous plots against him as he sets out to accomplish what he sees as the ultimate honor, becoming the last Eagle Scout. it was a cute film. You can tell, very low budget. It did take them a while to make this one. This one happens to be non-rated, but I would say it's probably a PG-13 thing. But I was surprised at how much it hits home with today's society and some groups thinking that Boy Scouts should close their doors. This one really hit the mark. Now, the last movie I have in my collection is from 2015. And this one is not for Boy Scout or Cub Scout aged boys to watch. Because this is an R-rated movie that not only combines Boy Scouts, but it combines it with another genre, zombies. And if you haven't guessed the title of it already, let me tell it to you. It's The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. This one is R-rated. Of course, it's a zombie movie, so there's going to be blood and gore involved. Also some language and so forth. A little bit of nudity in it. Like I said, not really meant for Scout age boys. However, I thought this movie was fairly well done and enjoyable. I got a kick out of it. I do like zombie movies a little bit. I'm not a real big fan where I go out and rush to watch every zombie film because zombies just don't make a whole lot of sense to me as far as a horror movie creature. But this one did have enough humor in it to really kind of make it fun for me. And yes, it did have zombies, and the zombies are trying to kill the Scouts. It's a cool movie. If you're an adult, go ahead and watch it. Like I said, I would not watch this with your own troop because it is a strong R. But it was a fun, strong R. So there we go. That is all the movies in my scouting movie collection. What do you think of them? How many of these have you seen? How many would you like to see? How many am I missing? Leave a comment to answer those questions. Make sure you subscribe when you're doing that so that you don't miss out any videos. And also it helps YouTube find us when more people subscribe. So that completes this video. Until next time, happy scouting.